Get Undressed.
Hi.
Hi, Cynthia. Welcome to Get Undressed, the podcast.
Thanks for
I'm
having
so
me, Adele.
happy to have you here today. This is a long overdue interview and chat that we were going to have. And I'm really, really happy to have you and have a chance to talk about fashion, movies, lifestyle, and everything with you.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Adele. I'm like so excited to hang out with you.
Me
Both of
too.
us in our room, cozy.
Love it. Yeah, I know. I see you got the assignment. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, actually, like this is my robe. I got this beautiful silk robe from Colombia, where I'm from. And I wear this in the morning. Like this is what I wear, this robe specifically, to make my coffee in the morning, to make my bed before I get my day started. So I really love this.
I like it. I like it. Well, actually, I want to talk to you first about Barranquilla and the fact that you're from Colombia and Venezuela.
I'm both. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was born in Venezuela, but my entire family is from Barranquilla, Colombia, my whole
Mhm.
family. My parents just happened to be working there at the time, had me and my sister, but I left Venezuela very early, never went back just because it was just not a
Yeah.
good time back then. And even still, it's gotten a lot better, but it wasn't safe.
Hmm.
And so I grew up every summer going to Colombia regularly. I still spend a lot of time out there. I have a place out there. I live there 3 to 4 months out of the year. My whole family's there, and it's just very true and genuine and special to my heart, my
It's
my
home, right?
Colombian background. It's home. It's definitely home. Obviously, home is where you make it. So
Yeah.
right now I'm in Los Angeles, where I've lived for over 10 years now. But Colombia is like they're my roots. That's my truth.
Yeah. And how is it living in it? Because I'm based in the UK
Yeah. Oh,
and
cool. Yeah, I was going to ask you, where are you?
I'm based in the UK, but I'm French. I'm like so very fucking French.
I have the best French girlfriends. You guys are just so awesome.
Oh, really?
Just effortless. Just it's just this beauty that Americans just we don't get. Yeah, my really good friend, she's an actress. Her name is Clara McGregor, and she is French, and she just has this effortless beauty. She always looks like she walked out of a French film set. Like it's just really beautiful. And when I ask her about her style, she's like, it's just very French. We
Yeah.
we just like good perfume and we don't like to do too much. And it's really about not trying too hard. And to me, I think that's so sexy. I think that's so beautiful.
Oh,
But
I
anyway,
love
I
it.
have I have ADHD, so I just totally got off track. I just discovered that I had it. It's so crazy. Like way, later in life. I thought this was something that I would get diagnosed with in elementary school when I couldn't sit still, but no. It's like
Mm.
now as a full-grown adult woman, I'm realizing that I have it and I'm not alone.
Yeah, no,
It's
it's
very,
every,
very
I
prevalent.
mean, I don't want to say everybody has it, but I feel like in the artistic world in general, like
Yes,
when we're always like doing new projects and always like kind of like I don't want to say hyper because we're just like always doing new things and there's always a
totally.
hundred things happening at the same time. You don't really realize if you have ADHD whether it's strong or not strong because that's your everyday life. And then when you start like sitting down and obviously now they're like diagnosing a lot of people, you're like,
Of
oh,
course.
oh,
It's kind of nice to have the formal diagnosis because you can pick up on the habits right away, like the procrastinating or the overanalyzing, oversharing, overthinking. But it's so crazy how ADHD goes so undiagnosed in
yeah.
women. Like most women don't get diagnosed until their mid 30s. That's a while to be living with ADHD and not know about it. But yeah,
And I
I
think
do
the
get off
thing is
track.
I I think the thing is once you know you have it, you know how to deal with it.
Of
Not
course.
knowing that makes it complicated, but I feel like it's a blessing and a curse at the same time.
Totally. Totally. I go to therapy. I'm a big proponent on mental health and I think my goal as a human and artist, woman, just alien, whatever you want to call it, is to always advocate for mental health and kind
Yeah.
of erase the stigmas around talking about it. And I love my therapist. I think everybody should go to therapy. It's about being more aware and being able to pick up on the habits and changing them or being more gentle with yourself that you have them. So now one thing that I'm doing is like, okay, I know I don't want to do this, but I know it's my ADHD putting it off because it's not a preferred task. So now I'm going to do it first thing in the morning. So it's just it's the awareness. And I think this is with everything in life.
I think it's all about like breaking down the habits to understand them. Like I remember when I was
Totally.
studying fashion, one of the teachers was like, "I'm just trying to teach you a different way of seeing the world and a different way of seeing what's in front of you. So I want to
Yeah.
break down the way you see and look at things for you to be in a way rebuilding yourself in a it's like whichever habits you have and whichever situation you have that is not something that benefits you, it's once you start breaking it down that you start understanding it. But those things usually happen through therapy.
I mean it that's why I said I therapy has changed my life
Yeah.
and it's about my therapist really being able to pinpoint those habits and just bring them to the light. A lot of people are like, I don't want somebody to tell me how to live my life. And when I mean my parents, because
Yeah.
I grew up in old-fashioned Colombian household where there is still very much, and I love my parents and they've changed a lot. I've helped them kind of see things differently, but there was always this stigma, and I'm not alone. When I speak to my friends that are from South America, it's like there's something wrong with you if you go to therapy.
Yeah.
You're a crazy person. God forbid you take antidepressants. You're a witch in the Salem trials. Like there's something really
Hmm.
wrong with you, right? But it's so important to be able to have these pillars. And I don't know, my therapist is like a huge backbone for my life and my growth and my evolution and the rebuilding of myself. And all he really does is just show me what I'm really doing so that I can fix it. And a lot of us come to LA to pursue our dreams, and a lot of us don't have the luxury of having our families here. So you kind of create the
Yeah,
family.
you
It's
create
very
your
important to
family.
build a community. Absolutely. So, sure, I think at the time I did have a pretty solid support group, not as solid as I have now. And I think it's because from 2017 to now, I've evolved. And
Yeah.
so the people around me have either changed or have also evolved where I now have a stronger group here in Los Angeles. But yeah, therapy since 2017 and changed my life. Really changed my life. I
That's
haven't looked
amazing.
back since. Yeah,
Do you
what
know
about
that?
you?
Both my parents, my dad is a psychoanalyst and my mom is a psychologist. So I literally
Stop
like,
it.
yeah, yeah. I grew up
That's so cool.
in a world
That's
of,
so cool.
you know, and I started therapy, like my parents divorced when I was really young. So I started therapy
Hmm.
quite young. And then I had
Oh,
quite a lot of
cool.
like traumatic death around me. And
Oh, wow, that's tough.
yeah, it's tough. But you know what? I'll tell
Yeah.
you, I think in a way it shapes you. And
Hmm.
going to therapy from a young age and really like understanding why I was feeling the way I was feeling and learning not to be resentful towards people and kind of like taking responsibilities for like my own feelings and everything has helped me so much.
That's
But
so cool.
I think there is kind of there's a different thing at the moment. Everybody's very like eat, pray, love, and everyone's talking about Deepak Chopra and how important
Yeah.
it is to
Which is cool too.
meditate,
Yeah,
eat
it's
well, and
important. It's all necessary.
and it's amazing. But fast backwards, I don't really know how to say
Mhm.
that. 10 years
Yeah, yeah,
ago,
yeah.
people
Like
would say that and people would be like,
rewind, right?
yeah, people would be like,
Yeah,
"You're crazy, right? You're crazy." And it's like, "No, I'm not. I'm not crazy. It's just like
right.
going through life."
But it was so normal for you.
Yeah.
It was so
It was,
normal for you from a
but you know
very
what?
early age. Before it was like cool.
It was, yeah, it was so normal for me, but I remember my friends in high school, for example, making me feel like, no, like that's not
It's
normal.
like this is not
When I
normal.
was at home, it was
Interesting.
fine. When I was at school, I was like kind of like hiding it because it was like, no, no, it's not normal. But then,
Isn't that wild?
it's wild. But I think it's wild how the world has evolved, like, even in work and everywhere, like now. And,
This
mhm,
generation that's coming up after mine, that's really self-aware, that's really just woke and outspoken and fearless. Like I do have hope for our future,
yeah,
definitely. And
100%.
but I think that's so cool. I always love when I meet people. One of my really good friends also said that he's been going to therapy since he was 3 years old. And I'm
Wow.
just blown away because I didn't grow up in that kind of environment. Like I said, right? Like I had to find therapy for myself way later in life. And I always wonder, like, what would have been different if I would have had the experience that you had, for example?
I think
Obviously,
it gives you a
everybody's on their own
different,
journey.
yeah, but I think it definitely gives you a different view and point of view on life. But yeah, it's so
That's very
different.
much how it is in Colombia. And that's why I spend so much time there because when I'm here in Los Angeles, I was living in New York for a while before. It's very go, go, go,
Yeah.
right? It's very just directional. It's very goal oriented. It's very, I'm reading this book right now that talks about a city having masculine energy. Um, and New York definitely had that. Whereas in Colombia, it's the coast where I live and it's very slow and people don't really, not that they don't bust their asses to work because there's a lot of very hardworking people there, but they prioritize the quality of life.
Yes,
It's more quality instead of quantity. It's not so much about what you have, it's about like how you're enjoying what you have. And I think that's so important.
it is. It is. I want to ask you because I think what's really interesting about your career is there is such a diversity in your roles. And you've literally like done everything from drama to action to comedy, and like how do you prepare for that, and how do you prepare mentally as well, because it's kind of like your roles are like from here to here, and there is a lot of different emotions on screen, and there's a lot of, I don't know, it's like it seemed to me it's so much. I'm like, wow,
It's
how do you do that?
ADHD. That's what it is. It's
Yeah.
ADHD. It's literally that. There's more than that, of course, but I think it's rooted in some ADHD where we get bored very easily,
Hmm.
and that is very true to me. But when I first started acting, I just wanted to try on all the hats and see what I enjoyed more. But a big thing for me as a person, as an artist, is like, don't put me in a box.
Are they trying to typecast you?
They always do.
Yeah.
They always will. And it's crazy sometimes in Hollywood, this happens where it's like, I started my career as this, high school cheerleader, and then all of a sudden it's like they wouldn't see me as anything outside of that. Even though I would try for dramas, I would try for comedies, they try to stick you in a box or because I'm a Latina, right?
Yeah.
It's all of a sudden we're going to put you in this little box and the stereotypes that come with that, the types of roles that are written. I've always been very against that. I'm
Yeah.
also somewhat of a free spirit, I don't know, I would say, where it's like I don't want to be trapped. I don't want to be in a little niche at
Yeah.
all. And so it was very important to me very early on in my career. It was definitely a risk that I had to take. But I always said, always from the very beginning, like, I really believe that your words have power. So just be careful what you say because it could work
So
for
much.
or against you, right?
So much.
Very early, yeah. Very early on in my career, I was like, I don't want to do a project that was like my last. Every project that I do next has to be completely different from the last. Because when I look back, or when I'm not here anymore, my physical body is not here anymore. Like, and people look back at my career, even me looking back at my career when I've retired, I want to say like I did it all. She did it all.
She did it all. I love that.
She did it all. She did it
Yeah.
all, and she could, and she took the risks because listen, it's not easy. It's not easy. You know, doing a sitcom for the first time was completely different from any project that I've ever done. And guess what? It was scary. I had
Yeah.
fun, I took risks, but it was scary. And that's what I feel makes you grow as an
Yeah.
artist, as a
100%.
person, constantly doing things that scare you, putting yourself in situations that you are not the most comfortable with. And I've been able to take those risks, fortunately, very fortunately, I don't forget that, in my career. So like, yeah, I did the tween series dramas, tween young adult series that has gotten me just the most incredible fans and followers all over the world and connected me to a completely different audience. And then I went and did the dramas, the indie gritties, which are my personal favorites because they just feel a lot more real. And then I went and did the silly sitcom. And right now I just finished a biopic where I play a real life person, and all of the roles are completely different from the next. I think what remains the through line in all of these characters is that no matter what you're doing, you just have to find the truth
Yeah.
in the character, in the person, in the humanity. Every role is going to be very different to prepare for. I have very different processes, very different. Preparing for the tax collector, a drama is completely different for preparing for a sitcom like Pretty Smart.
Do you
It takes
prepare
different skill
everything by
sets.
yourself? Do you prepare everything by
Sometimes,
yourself or you have someone that helps you?
so sometimes it depends on the project. I'm very much an intuition kind of artist person. And yes, I have trained a lot. I have some coaches here in LA that I love dearly. I've worked with people in New York that have really changed my life. But sometimes I'll find a role and I'll just know that my intuition is going to be stronger than somebody
Yeah.
else's, at least for this, for me. And so sometimes I'll choose not to. It really depends on the project and how I'm feeling. And again, the truth of it. Sometimes there are roles that I may not understand, and I will do the work as much as I can on my own and then bring a coach in. Like I work with this wonderful acting teacher named John Markland. He's amazing. And I'll come to him with things when I just want to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice to have somebody else come in and give you a different perspective. It's about trusting it. And if you are going to bring somebody else, not using that person as a clutch, more like just have them show you a different layer of it where you're like, I could try that. Let's try that. That could be fun.
Yeah, I see exactly what you mean, and it's almost like an introspection into the character in a way to make it yourself.
Totally.
Mm.
Totally. Yeah. There's a lot of situations also that I've faced in my work, in the characters that I'm portraying, that I haven't gone through in real life. And sometimes it is nice to talk about it with somebody else that may have been through it.
Yeah, of course. And how do you deal with, because I guess I don't know. I don't know. I don't think we can compare that, but for me, it's like no matter
Mhm.
what I do, I'm always the French girl. Like wherever I arrive, it's always like, oh, you're French, you're French, you're
Of
French. And
course.
there's some stereotypes that
Mhm.
come with being French that
I
are very
understand
strong.
completely.
Is it the same for you being Latina and living in the
Of
US,
course.
and
Of
especially with
course.
casting directors, or is it
Yeah.
different?
Yes and no. Um, there's always I feel the same way. You
Yeah.
walk into the room and you're the Latina, and
Yeah.
especially people go, the Latina, right? It's the spicy Latina. I want to know what it is for you as a French woman,
Oh la la.
but for me, oh, okay, right. And
Oh,
after a
oh
while,
la
it's
la,
like,
and then
okay,
they're
thanks.
always like, "Do you eat frogs and do you wash?" I'm like,
It's crazy what people ask me.
"Is it?"
It's crazy. They're like, I mean, I don't want to keep perpetuating the stereotype about
Yeah.
Colombia, but it always has something to do with like, is Narcos, did that happen in your family? And it's just like, no. I have a really educated, lovely family that has nothing to do with that, but educate yourself.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
But yeah, it totally happens. Um,
Yeah,
I think
people.
as humans, we naturally, and maybe it's an evolutionary thing. I don't know enough, but I imagine in order to understand things, we need to place them in boxes,
Yeah,
right? We need to be like, oh, you're this, and I
yeah,
understand you. It's maybe if it probably comes from a feeling of safety. I don't know. But yeah, it definitely happens to me as a Latina with anybody. It's like, oh, where are you from? Ooh, and then they just spicy. And it's like this stereotype of who I'm supposed to be, right?
yeah.
And it's like, okay, sure, that is a part of us, but there's
Yeah, it
so
doesn't
much more
define
to
you.
being at all. And
Yeah,
it's the vision of your version of me is not who I am supposed to be. So fine that you have that view of me, but know that that's not the complete
yeah,
picture. And be open to expanding and learning so much more about someone's culture. I think in acting, it definitely happens. Listen, we've come a long way, and I preach about this. I think I talk about this in every interview. The representation of Latinos on screen in 2023 is still shamelessly low, even though we account for 20% of the US population. That's shameful.
100%. It's so true.
It's bad.
It's bad, yeah.
So the few roles that are written for us, yeah, we've come a long way since I started acting, but a lot of these roles perpetuate the stereotypes, and it's really up to us. I don't want to speak for everybody else. It's really up to me to be mindful of the types of roles that I'm choosing to do, because are we going to move forward and show a different side of ourselves, or are we going to
Exactly.
stay in that box? Yeah. So for example, shooting the Greenhouse Academy, which was a series that I did for four
Yeah.
seasons and was my first series regular, it was very important that I was represented as a Latina. I wasn't written as a Latina character. Um, it was switched when I asked
Were you as
for it
an
to be
Italian
changed.
character initially?
Sophie, my character's name is Sophie Cardona on the show, and originally she was supposed to be Sophie Whitman. So they
Uh,
were kind of like, she could have been Irish, she could have been Italian, she could have been
yeah.
anything. It was not a Latina. And for me, it was really important, being in a show that was going to be shown in 140 countries on Netflix, that there were other young boys and girls that saw themselves represented in me. And
Mm.
also, it was very important that now that we've changed this character to a Latinx character, that the writing was very authentic and not
Yeah.
on the nose.
Yeah.
And that's
100%.
what I do go for in my art, in my work, where it's like, I don't want to play the roles that are like, this is for a Latina. No. And I tell this to my team and my manager, everybody on my team knows this. I am an artist and I want to play a role that anybody can play. It just so happens to be that a Latina woman, such as myself, is the one who will portray this
Yeah.
truthfully.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Completely.
So it's, yeah, fight the stereotypes. It's up to us. And not only, I'm been acting most of my life, but I also write and I'm also starting to produce. And the reason why I chose to go behind the camera, yes, I love acting, but it's to really have control about changing the narrative.
Yeah.
It's up to us. It's really up to us, and to have more visibility and opportunities for Latinos, specifically Latina directors, writers, producers, to control what kind of stories are being told. But I have hope. I'm seeing some really cool stuff out there, and I'm seeing so many changes since when I first started. So I'm definitely hopeful.
I think there's a change. The change is slow, but it's
Hmm.
happening. And I think
It's
nowadays,
happening. Not
yeah,
as quick as
people
I'd
are
like.
more aware. I love I don't know if she's your stylist for everything, but the stylist that you've been working with, she's on some of your Instagram posts and stuff like that. I love how playful and there is something really happy, funny, and at the same time fashion about what you guys.
It's so much more than just fashion. It's soul. It's this weird energy force that I'm still trying to process.
It's, I think people underestimate the power of dressing up, and I think people sometimes don't realize that the way you dress and how you know how you present yourself to the world is also how you present yourself to yourself. When you have a stylist and you click with the stylist and you have a great connection, you kind of create that style DNA that you
Yeah.
can have through time, and then you can start having fun dressing up. It's not like, oh my God,
Yes.
I've got a red carpet and I'm so stressed about it.
And what do I do? No.
Exactly. It's
No.
like, we're gonna do something amazing. We're
Hmm.
gonna have fun. We're gonna, just like enjoy the power of dressing up and the power of the
It's the
clothes.
best. It's the
Yeah.
best. What I have with Bianca is really genuine. Obviously, we started working together first. It was a professional setting, and along the journey, we have become some really she's one of my best friends now, which is
Mhm.
even better because we can take even more risks now. I was actually just in Italy with her. She's Sicilian, crazy style. And I went and stayed with her and her family for 2 weeks, and we just had so much fun shopping and putting together different looks, and but also getting real and getting vulnerable. And there's so much that goes into when getting dressed, getting undressed, and having someone there next to you that you end up telling so much more about
It's almost
yourself
like
than
a
you would
therapy
just a
session.
regular friend.
Yeah.
Our process is just the most fun ever. She just styled me for an event last night, and we just have a blast. Her goal with me very early on, because I was always the kind of girl growing up in Miami, growing up in Colombia, my style was very much like I can go to the beach and I can also go to a party right
Yeah.
after. Like it was that. It was just, I was a product of my environment, which was cool and fun and sassy and sexy and feminine and edgy and the whole nine. But when I met Bianca, she made it very clear. She was like, we're going to evolve past that, and we're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to try on different hats and different characters and really find your voice within all of it. So I trusted her. She's
Yeah.
also super just crazy talented. She's really her work speaks for herself. She's fantastic. But it was very much a process of like her getting me outside of my comfort zone. Where at first, our first couple of fittings, I remember I was like, oh no, I can't wear this. And she'd be like, just try it on.
Yeah.
Just trust me. I'd be like, oh, I would never, I always tell her, I would never put this together. I would never, my mind doesn't work this way. And in being vulnerable, but also kind of surrendering to somebody that knows so much more about fashion than I do, I have found like a new love for fashion, a new love for taking risks with fashion. I look forward to it. I will send her ideas now and we'll build a whole look around something that just inspired me. And the other day, for example, I go to this magazine event and I really wanted to rock some platform Mary Janes. I was like, I've never done this. I kind of want to rock this. And she was like, let's do it. Let's build a whole look around this. We'll
Yeah.
pull it together. And something she said afterwards, she was like, I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of you for taking these risks. And it made me feel so good. And now I'm definitely just inspired. I'll come up with these characters in my head like, oh, I want to try this or I want to do this. And I'll create with Bianca a whole look that is
Yeah.
how I'm feeling in the moment. One of my style icons is Cher, for example.
Oh,
So, like, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll be like, I'm feeling Cher, and I'll be listening to some music, and I'll be watching Cher's films, and I'll just like make a mood board of all of Cher's greatest looks in the 70s. And I'll channel that energy, right? This like powerhouse of a woman who is most known for saying that she doesn't need a rich husband because she is the rich husband.
Yeah.
Like the way that I dress and creating these looks with Bianca empowers me.
It's a way to honor yourself and honor the woman body as well. Like it's very
Oh my
much
God.
about,
Yeah.
feeling
And having
feeling
your own
good.
voice.
Yeah.
Having your own voice. I'm very big on like, yes, trends are really cool and what and I'll try them. I'll take risks with them, but at the end of the day, it's about being authentic to yourself,
Yeah.
and celebrating your own uniqueness and your own body, not trying to fit into a mold of like, what is everybody doing? Not everything looks good on every person. It's about honoring yourself at the end of the day.
And it's very much about being in tune with your body, your age, and, being graceful about,
Graceful.
everything. And I think there's this whole new generation that's, accepting their bodies in such a different way and working fashion towards that and not having, the clothes are not wearing them, they're wearing the clothes. And
Of
that's
course.
such a thing. And I
Yeah.
think when I look at your looks, that's what I think. I'm like, she's not, she's wearing the clothes. They're not wearing her.
Thank
This-
you. Thank you. I mean, coming from a stylist, that means a lot. And I can't wait for Bianca to see this interview because I know she's going to be so proud as well.
You should
It's
be. You guys are doing an amazing work.
it feels like we're just getting started. We've got some really great shoots coming up that I'm really excited about. She's wonderful. And
Do you like shoots?
I do. I
Yeah?
really do. Like I have a lot of fun in front of the camera and it's a way for me to express myself differently than I express myself when I'm dancing because I did grow up as a dancer before I started acting, and differently than how I express myself when I'm portraying a character because it's
Yeah.
not me. So in a photo shoot, I just get to have a lot of fun. I'm not I didn't grow up. I did some modeling growing up, some print modeling and commercials and stuff. I wasn't ever, tall enough or thin enough to be like a runway model, and that's okay. But there's something really fun about getting your picture taken and being free and trying new things. I like it. I like it. Listen, not all the time do I want to take my picture taken, but there's something really intimate about a photo shoot. One of the first photographers I worked with really was talking about how intimate it is for somebody to photograph you because the windows are the eyes of the soul.
Yeah.
And I
100%.
always I always remember that. Now I'm like, "Hey, like let's have fun." And I love to dress up. The Nothing gets me more excited at this day and age. It used to be like going out or dating a cute guy or like all these other
No,
things that we
it's the
distract ourselves with.
pre-going out. It's the getting dressed to go out. Yeah.
I don't even have to go out. Like I don't have to. It's the foreplay
Yeah,
almost.
yeah, I agree with
Right? Like we're doing a couple of shoots, my team and I, in the next couple of weeks, and it's like sitting down and doing the mood board and getting the inspiration and watching old films or listening to music. Like right now, I'm in a very Doja Cat
you.
phase in the last couple of days. Just the last couple of days. Look, a couple of weeks ago, I was in a Caliucci's phase, and then Megan the Stallion and Hermanos Gutierrez or Fade. Like music is so important to me, but I'll start listening to music and I'll start thinking of certain energies that I want to channel. And Bianca and I are meeting on Sunday to like go over this mood board and talk about designers, which I love. I love to discover new designers, independent, indie, small designers that not a lot of people know about that aren't even in America, for example, or big names that, Bianca is like, hey, like this is a really great piece. You should consider this. Let's do this for this. Let's channel this. That's so exciting for me. Not only with wardrobe, but with hair, makeup. Yeah, it's a vibe. It's also a way of me creating a character
Yeah, I love this.
while also celebrating myself, and
I
you
love
get
it.
it. You
Yeah.
get it. How long have you been styling for?
Oof, God, I started working in fashion. I used to be a designer, so I started
Very
studying and
cool.
working at the same time when I was 18. And then I
Nice.
started styling when I was 23, I think, ages ago.
Nice. and
I want
just,
to do
yeah,
some rapid fire questions.
let's do it.
Hollywood or BTS behind the scenes?
Hollywood.
Drama or comedy?
Drama.
Insta or TikTok? It's a hard one.
TikTok. I did an interview years ago. It's written. It's in a magazine somewhere where they were like, "What trend will you never get on?" And I was like, TikTok. I'm gonna go with Crocs.
Are you a fan of Crocs?
I'm gonna say I was never a fan. I was never a fan
Until you put one on.
until I got gifted a pair of Crocs. I didn't go out of my way to buy them. Somebody gifted me a pair of Crocs, like maybe a year ago or a year and a half ago, and I wear them every day to like take out the trash or go for a walk.
What?
Really.
I want to know where we can see you. Where can we find you? What's coming up for you? Tell.
Well, I've got a movie coming out soon. I played Chiquis Rivera in the new Jenny Rivera biopic, so
Wow.
definitely check that out. Can't say too much more about it. But you can follow me on TikTok. It's Cynthia underscore Cinthya Carmona, and then my Instagram is just Cinthya Carmona.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure to have a chat with you.
Yeah, I mean you're so much fun, and I love that we
Thank
really
you.
got to share some truths on this.
Yeah, it was really nice to chat to you. It was really nice to hear your
Same.
point of view, on mental health, on acting, on fashion. Like,
Love that we talked about that. I wasn't expecting that, but that those are always the best conversations when you're like,
yeah,
"Oh, we're going for the jugular right away.
and
Let's
they're
do
real.
this."
They're real.
And it's real. Yeah, definitely. But I love chatting with you. I love the work that you're doing with this podcast,
Thank
and
you.
I definitely can't wait to sit and chat again. Oh.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Definitely.
you, Adele. We'll talk soon, okay?
Talk soon. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.